Hello, my name is John Robertson. I'm a Tipton High School teacher and a Tipton High School graduate. And today I'm going to go over a little bit of the details of our Blue Devil refresh project. The first question I want to answer is why refresh? Now, all corporations refresh at some time or another, and they do it for a variety of reasons. So I can only tell you why Tipton chose to refresh and why we chose to do it at this point in time. The first thing that's important to know is that Tipton has always borrowed their logo from someone else, or we've shared it with other schools. We've taken it from clip art, or we've borrowed it from Duke University, and we'll get into the history of that a little bit more later on in the presentation. But I just wanted to emphasize one of the major reasons is we wanted our very own Blue Devil. Secondarily, we wanted to modernize and refresh the way it looked. There's nothing wrong with the current Blue Devil. He's just starting to look a little dated. And for the new, younger generation, we wanted to have a new Blue Devil that fit with things that would get them excited and look more modern. Therefore, that's why we're doing it now, and that's why the Blue Devil refresh came up. So, talking about all corporations and their refreshes, I want to give a couple examples of various corporations through time and what their logo refreshes have looked like. So if we look at Volkswagen started in the 1930s, and as you can see, some of their imagery is probably not really relevant today, and it's not something you would want to have if you were a corporation. So over time, they changed, and they went with various trends. Different colors, they've added circles. In the 2000s, it was popular to have more depth. Today, it's more popular to have slightly less depth, so that's why they've refreshed over and over. But they've kept a lot of the same imagery and symbolism, so it looks similar, it's recognizable, but they've altered it. Secondarily, I think Pepsi is a great example of how technology has changed the way a logo looks. Going all the way back to 1898, they just had the art and tools that they had at the time, and because of the way that things were used in the 50s, they definitely changed to the cap, and this was painted on signs or places to look at in that manner. When it got more digital in the 90s, they changed it up again, and as you can see, like Volkswagen in the 2000s, they had like a depth to it, and today it's slightly more flat. That is kind of the trends of modern logo imagery. I have the Pacers. Theirs hasn't changed a lot. It's always been a flat style, but I think it's important to show how the Pacers have evolved from the 60s to 70s to current, and then they also have alternates. I wanted to use this one specifically because the company that we work with to do our Blue Devil also helped do some of the branding for the Pacers, so I thought that was an interesting fact. Apple Computer's logo, this was their very first one, and this one I really think is relevant to our Blue Devil situation. While this is really cool art and it's really great to look at, in a modern setting where everything's digital and you see it quickly at a glimpse, having detailed art like this is hard to read. It's not something that you can just look at and say, oh, I know what that is. That's why they switched to the Apple logo we know today that's on everything. That's just a simple apple. It's very readable. You can see it and know what it is, and you know the brand you're looking at. So since we've talked all about those things, I want to tell you the motto that we went through when we were doing this is we wanted to respect the past, but we wanted to make sure we embrace the future. So throughout the entire process, we've talked about what is a Blue Devil for Tipton, what does it look like, and what do we think it looks like going forward. Keep that in mind. We're going to come back to this here in a little bit, and as we talk about the Blue Devil. So I went back and I looked through a lot of yearbooks from 1900 all the way to current to find a variety of Blue Devils. And this is the first usage of a Blue Devil on the cover of a Tipton High School yearbook in 1953. He's definitely interesting. I think it's a cool art style, but it's very different than what we're used to today. In the mid-60s, I found a picture of this guy. I don't know his name. I can't give credit to who he is. He's probably somebody's family member, so if you know, you can tell us who it is. We found his picture wearing this Blue Devil sweater. This Blue Devil was taken from Duke, because this is the Duke's logo of the 60s. So as you can see, it's basically the same thing. It may look slightly different because of wrinkles and the way he's sitting, but it is the Blue Devil from Duke. Which brings us to, from the 1970s and to the early 2000s, we didn't have a universal Blue Devil logo that we use. Pretty much anybody could use any Blue Devil that they chose to use at any time and slap it on whatever, and just print it. So if you were around in the 90s, you probably saw this guy. We've used this at times. The one you're used to that we have currently, it was used at times, this guy with the mustache. So it really just depended. Sometimes we got a Blue Devil with a mustache. Sometimes we didn't get a Blue Devil with a mustache. It was just whatever the person making the documents wanted to use. The three at the bottom are all from Duke University. This one over here was definitely used in elementary school in the 80s and maybe into the 90s. This one was very popular in the 90s. The Duke in the middle was very popular in the 90s. That's when we got a cease and desist to stop using it, because it's trademarked, they're copyrighted. They get to use it, and they can tell people that they can't use it. Also, the full body Blue Devil was used on notebooks in the middle school and high school in the 90s. And again, that one belonged to Duke. So as you can see, we have borrowed from Duke University heavily, and then we also just had no consistency. That's why we had to try and find one to be consistent with. This was in the 90s. There was a time when they were trying to get away from the Blue Devil imagery, and this was used. And a lot of people who went to school in the 90s don't even remember it anymore because they've tried to block it. But we tried to go with this T1 for a minute, and then that went away. And then this one that you're used to, the current Blue Devil, became official in 2017. In a meeting with the superintendent, Kevin Imsweller, they just said, we're going to pick this one, we're going to use it, we're going to make it official, everybody has to use this exact Blue Devil. And that's the way it's been ever since. We've used this specific Blue Devil from that point in time. So after the committee met and said we wanted to look into it, we contacted Section 127, a branding company out of Indianapolis, and we gave them kind of what we were looking for, what we would like to see, and what we wanted in our new Blue Devil. So this is going to go into detail a little bit about what we talked about with them. So we wanted to create a single Blue Devil logo to be used across all three schools. It was very important to the school board that we did not have multiple logos for the different schools. We're all one school in three buildings, so we want to be represented by one Blue Devil. And it would be used for academic, athletic, letterhead, signage. All of our Blue Devil usage, that's what we wanted, one Blue Devil for everything. The target audience is the Tipton school system students and staff. Local schools, townships in Indiana will use it when they're mentioning us for sports, or putting things on their handouts for sports. People in the community and local businesses also, we would want to use our new Blue Devil. So the things that we told them that we wanted to incorporate are royal blue and white are the official school colors, and we said that colors such as gray, silver, and black are welcome to be used on uniforms and in the logo, but the school colors are blue and white. We wanted to modernize the Blue Devil logo. We wanted to make sure that he looked a little more aggressive, definitely not evil. They said that is a tight rope to walk, and they thought they accomplished it. But that was something that we had heard from multiple people when we were doing our pre-interviews. We were like, if you were going to have a new Blue Devil, what would you want to see? And several people, I would say the majority, a vast majority, said they wanted slightly more aggressive. They didn't love a smiley, goofy devil. And then we have other things that kind of go into further branding beyond the Blue Devil if we continue to work with this company. So I'm going to go over the inspiration, the artwork they looked at, if we're going to talk about how they came to get where they are, and then we'll get to the primary brand mark. So the first thing the company did was they went back and they found classic representations of devils in American culture. They said since we hadn't refreshed or rebranded at any point in a while, it was unlikely that we were going to rebrand again in the near future. So they wanted to give us more of a classic look. Without going into too much theory on graphic design, there is a very specific style right now that exists in sports logos and corporate logos, and they wanted to give us something a little more timeless. So they went back to this logo over here is from an oil can in the 1930s, the one on the top left. The one on the right is on a can from the 40s. And so they wanted to use this imagery to inform our Blue Devil without copying it specifically. Down the middle is kind of what they used for their font that they used, or that they created. These are the colors that are used, and this is the scale of colors being used in the logo. I think it's important to note that there is a specific blue for print and web. It is royal blue. It is slightly muted royal blue for the logo in print and web, because pure royal blue in digital format is very difficult to work with. Anyone that's done graphic design will tell you that if you just use a pure primary royal blue on the web or in print, it can really be hard to mix with other things and have it look good. So they picked a color that was slightly muted, but it is still true royal blue. And then gray and white, and obviously there's some black in there too. So this is the current Blue Devil that we have, and then we're going to look at him, and then we're going to look at the updated, more modern, refreshed Tipton Blue Devil with the word mark that goes along with it. Not only did they give us the face brand mark, we got the word mark that goes along with it. Now, the word mark can be the logo and word mark can be used together. They can be used vertically. They can use horizontally. They can be completely independent of each other. The only stipulation is we can't use the new word mark with the old face logo. Now, I want to come back to this respect the past and embrace the future for just one moment, and I want to leave out of the slideshow presentation because I really think it's kind of cool to go into parts of this logo and how they really did try to respect the past and bring it into the future. So here is the Blue Devil that we've used for the last few years, and then if we fill in a little bit with the new, more modern one, you can kind of see, if I just bring it in a little bit, they really wanted to keep the silhouette very similar. So if we take it back to nothing and then bring it in slowly, the silhouette, they kept as much the same as they could while modernizing it. So the ears are similar, the horns are in a similar position, the eyes are in a similar position, the overall face structure is similar. It's just the beard ends up being a little thicker, and then we have the silhouette to give him a slightly more aggressive look. So a little more there, bring it in, and you can see that there's the new modern Blue Devil. So that is one way that they wanted to respect the past. They wanted to embrace the respect the past, but bring it into the future. So there you go. I really like that the silhouette is similar on the new Blue Devil when compared to the old Blue Devil. So going back into the presentation, they gave us a variety of ways to use the Blue Devil. So what it would look like on a variety of colors. So on a black background, it would have a white outline. On a gray background or a lighter background, you don't necessarily need to use the white. And then on a single color, you can do it this way. We also have a single color to be used on blue because one of the most common usage of our Blue Devil logo is a one color white print on blue shirts or blue backgrounds, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. But also we didn't necessarily love the way it looked with blue, just the Blue Devil on a blue background by himself, so we asked them to alter that for us and give us a white trim on the Blue Devil for a blue background. So as you can see, this is the updated version they gave us. This is what the Blue Devil looks with the white trim on a blue background. Here's him on a full color with white background with horizontal. Here's the Blue Devil brand mark by himself. And then they put it on black, the single color print. But here's what he would look like if you can imagine this being a blue shirt. They would print the white on it, and it would look like that. So for those that want a blue and white only, that is absolutely an option, and it is available in the files that we have. I think it's important to start looking at what he would look like on apparel. Seeing the Blue Devil on a screen is a lot different than seeing it out in the world and on apparel or on site. So I have some photos of what it looks like on apparel. So here's, your typical basketball mesh attire. This is what he would look like. The potential baseball cap. So we have like jackets available. If you put them on track pants, shorts, shirts, a tumbler. I think the more you see it on things, the more it becomes alive and less of just a face on a screen. So side by side, here's the old Blue Devil. Here's the more modern, newly refreshed Blue Devil. And I think it's important to note that while we're getting a new, fresh Blue Devil, we're not throwing away the old Blue Devil. Anything that comes from the school, any new, current athletics, are going to be using the more modern Blue Devil on any things where we would use it on uniforms and whatnot, on letterhead, etc. But that doesn't mean we can't have him printed on a retro line of gear. We've already talked with various providers in the community of, keeping a retro shirt in stock so that it's available for people. But then we'll also have the new Blue Devil to be used for official documents and or apparel. So to talk a little bit about the process, once we talked to Section 127, we went through the process of, what you pay for when you pay to have it done is they will they'll meet with us, they'll do their research, they'll come up with concepts, they'll get the concept art, they'll give us a logo to look at, then our committee would talk to them about changes, and then we have a certain number of changes we can make before we have to start spending more money. With that being the process, we wanted to be as efficient as possible with the logo redesign. So after we got the design back from Section 127, we decided to do a focus group. The first focus group was with staff and students. It was equally male and female. We looked for diversity and representation as far as students that participate in different clubs, athletics, academics, and a student who really doesn't participate in any of those things but still exists within our school and is a student. So we wanted their opinion also. And then we reached out to people that worked in various buildings, were coaches, tipped-in graduates, and not tipped-in graduates. We really wanted to have demographics fully covered to get all types of voices from those people. When asked after seeing the logo, the question was, what word, or I think maybe it was what 3 words, would you use to describe the new Blue Devil logo at the end of the meeting? And this is a word cloud that was I created with their responses. The larger the word, the more times it was given in the response. So we got modern a lot. We got aggressive a lot. We got strong several times. Definitely got professional and fierce. The smaller ones we maybe got a couple of, but those are the words that stuck out. So I think it's important that the things we said we wanted modern, aggressive, strong, we are the ones that really came back the most in our questionnaire for the first focus group. We asked on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you feel about having this logo on sportwear or spiritwear or school branded apparel? And everyone was a 5 or a 4. We had no 1, 2s, or 3s, and 5 was the positive. We asked on a scale of 1 to 5, how well do you think the proposed logo respects the past of Tipton schools? It was kind of in the middle. We had one person who did not think that it represented the past, and a couple that were strong, but mostly 3s, 4s. So leaning towards does believe that it respects the past. And then we asked on a scale of 1 to 5, how proud would you be to have this logo represent you as a member of the Blue Devil community? And in these 11 responses, everyone was a 4 or a 5. We felt very strongly about that one. We thought that was good, so we went ahead to the next step of the process after having that one done. I do want to say that between each step, we took time, and I'm kind of going to go into detail on why we did that also. It's important to note. So most people's initial reactions, we had some that liked it but didn't love it right away. There were some that were very skeptical from the beginning. We have, I think it's just really important to know that many people, when they see it initially, don't know how to feel about the new Blue Devil. And I think that that is a very, very common response. I can also say when I went down to Indianapolis the first time and saw it, I was unsure of what I thought about it. And I think the best response that I can share that we got in this whole process came from one of our committee members that said, when I see it as a logo independently of being Tipton, I think it's really cool and I like it. But I'm so used to the Blue Devil that we have now, I have a hard time connecting it as a Tipton Blue Devil. After some time passed, that same person said, you know what, the more I see it, I really do think that this would be a cool thing to have on our uniforms and have it as part of our school. So the initial reaction tends to be, as a Tipton Blue Devil, we're not sure. But if you look at the question later that we asked people, the same people from our focus group after time, how did you feel about it? The more time they had to look at it and think about it, the more they started to fall in love with it. And that has really been across all of our formal and informal focus groups. That's been the response. So I wanted to include those in this presentation. Just for those people that think they may not love it right away, give it a moment. Be open-minded. Give it some time. And it generally has grown on people. Now, I can't say everyone will eventually love it. We expect some people that probably won't like the aesthetic, but as a whole, the majority of people that we've interacted with through this process have had the reaction of, I'm not sure, but they end up liking it after time. So our second focus group was with Tipton Academy. That's a group of people that come in from within the community, and they're people that work with businesses, or they have positions in the community, elected positions. There's a lot of people. There's retired teachers and parents, not retired parents, but just parents on there. And they come in and they get to see the school. So while they were there, we had time to give them a presentation. So we did a focus group with them. And out of everyone that was there, they all were very positive. We had one person who didn't make any comment at all. We don't have a Google form response sheet from them, but we took notes over the things they said, and they were all very much positive. There's similar initial reactions. Many people didn't necessarily say they didn't like it at first, but they said they were unsure of how to feel at first. But by the end of the half-hour, 45-minute meeting, they were into it. They were very excited. They thought it was cool. Specifically, we asked a parent of a 4 and 7-year-old child how she would feel about, or how she thought her kids would feel about the logo, and she thought that they would think it's very cool. She said that her children don't necessarily love the current Blue Devil, and they thought that having a new one that looked like it did would get them excited about wearing Blue Devil gear. So those were all positive things that we took away from that meeting, that we felt like we're going to make the Blue Devil switch exciting for our students. We got a lot of comments about he looks like a superhero and a Marvel character, and that was new for me. That hadn't even crossed my mind. I'm not a person that watches a lot of superhero films or comics, but I really believe we felt like that was a good comment. If people see him as a superhero, that's kind of what we want the Blue Devil to represent. We want him to be, a superhero for our kids. We want him to be, represent our kids being superheroes out in the world or on the field or on the court. So that was something that we were very excited for, that response. After the 2 formal presentations, we decided that it was time to start taking it out even farther and show it to more students of various ages. So I went to multiple classes and talked to multiple students and showed them the Blue Devil and asked them what they thought and got their responses. And again, we didn't send out a Google form for this one, but took notes on the responses, and overwhelmingly it was positive with the students. We did have some that were not sure. We had some that said that they didn't like it, but it was definitely a minority. So with all that done, we decided to move forward, and that's where we are today. We decided that we wanted to do a launch edition of the shirt that we're working on to get these printed out and made, because we think that's really cool, and we wanted to put the phrase "respect the past and embrace the future" on there, because that's really, as we're moving forward in the next couple of years with all the construction and changes in the school, we want to respect the past. We want to remember what Tipton is and what's made us great over all the years. We want to keep that in mind as we move forward, but we also want to make sure that we remember that our kids that are in school now are the future, and we want them to be excited about Tipton as well. So we want to go into that with the idea that we want to give them something awesome. We want to stay modern. We want to keep up with the times so that Tipton doesn't get left behind. So that's why we want to embrace the future. So we're having shirts made with that have the phrase "respect the past and embrace the future." And that's why we have the new hashtag Blue Future for the year, that we want to use this to remember, we are moving forward. We've got a lot of changes in the world. The Blue Devil may be a different change for a lot of people, and with time it will just become the Blue Devil, and we're excited about it. It's the future of Tipton schools. So thank you for watching this. Hopefully you've learned something and have a good idea of where the process was and where the Blue Devil came from and why he looks the way he does. I know that I'm excited about it. I think he looks really good, and as we start seeing him on gear, I think it'll be a very popular change. People from outside the community that I've shown it to, I have other teachers that work in different states who are at schools with Blue Devils, and I showed it to them, and they thought it was really cool. They were really excited about it. So that to me was a sign of positive change when other Blue Devils, they're not Tipton Blue Devils, but they're from across the country, they thought it was pretty neat. So thank you for listening to the video or my voiceover for the slideshow and presentation. I appreciate your time, respect your time. If you have questions, you can reach out. Thank you for all you do in our community, and thanks for watching.